Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to continue our look at Two-Fisted Tales, the great EC war comic. We're up to number 8, and in this issue, the side banner goes back to He-Man Adventure, even though the comic is wholly devoted to war comics. Once again, another amazingly striking Harvey Kurtzman cover. This one is just so dramatic. This guy's all happy. He's like, fellas, I just got word they're arranging an armistice. And this guy with tears in his eyes. Yeah, tell Jonesy here about your armistice. He'll be glad. And we see Jonesy with a bullet hole in his helmet. This is just so over the top, histrionic, but pretty awesome. And of course, in that patented Kurtzman style, just so unique, his style. So we start off once again with Jack Davis taking the lead, Mud. And so we're in Korea. It's 1951. April showers usually bring May flowers, but the April showers in Korea did not bring flowers. Instead, they brought brown, wet, slippery, oozing, sucking mud. Oh man, Jack Davis is fully in his prime now. I guess they called it General Mud because it could like stop a whole battalion. General Mud halting jeeps and tanks and everything. Except for the dog-eared infantrymen. Since time immemorial, the infantry, when everything else is bogged down in the mud, they can make it through. So we see this little platoon here, and the sergeant is really riding this guy duck butt. That's what he calls him. And he's just riding his ass. Just basically thinking to himself, yeah, this duck butt, he's been bucking me the whole time since he's been in this outfit. But I'm gonna buck him right back. I'll straighten that boy out or nothing will. So they take a little break, and now we get to see Duck Butt's thoughts. And he hates him just as much, or actually he hates him more. Yeah, Shadburn is the name of the CO. He's just all like, you've been riding my back since I got into this outfit, you dirty motherfucker, or whatever these various curse word glyphs stand for. Whenever I read these old comics, I always like to imagine that it's the worst word possible, even though they probably just meant, you bastard. But I always, in my mind, think like, you piece of shit motherfucker or something. He's even contemplating like fracking him. He's just like, yeah, don't turn your back on me. You might be liable to get a stray bullet in your back. So the break's over, and they head into the sounds of combat. Now all of a sudden, they start getting a mortar fire, and the sergeant says, we got to take this hill because there's like a pillbox up there. And before they get to the top, the machine guns open up on them. God, I love this panel. The sound effects and just the yellow. So the sergeant says, guys, hand me some grenades. I'll take care of this pillbox. Sergeant Shadburn, and he bravely just runs through this gauntlet of bullets. When he's really close to the pillbox, he finally gets shot, and he's wounded. And now Duckbutt, even though he's kind of insults Shadburn, he grabs some grenades, and he bravely runs off, following in the footsteps of Shadburn. He makes it to the pillbox. He's right under it, and the gun can't reach him. So he starts piling hand grenades into this little hole, and then a North Korean soldier comes out. And then we see a close-up of a pistol firing. And Shadburn is not quite out for the count. He kills this guy. He says, stop gaping at me, duckbutt. Drop grenades down the hatch before they can button up. And once again, showing Harvey Kurtzman's research, he's like talking about exactly how to make a grenade so when you throw it, it blows up really quickly. Like how you have to pull the pins in a certain way. And he does just that. He throws it down into the tank. He knocks over Sergeant Shadburn for his own safety. And the pillbox blows up, killing everyone inside. And he says, we did it, Sarge. We knocked out that... He's still doing those curses. We dropped out that motherfucking pillbox. And then, I guess he's just like, they just went through this trauma or this danger. So Duckbutt's kind of got his arm on the sergeant's back and he says, my, this is so sudden, Duckbutt. And it looks like Duckbutt's going to punch him, but then he laughs. And he says, put her there, soldier, and they shake hands. So basically just showing that in the face of danger, men unite, enemies become friends. It's a little vignette of war. Next, we have Bunker Hill by Wally Wood. Of course, all these stories are written by Harvey Kurtzman. I think at this point it goes beyond saying. I will keep mentioning it, though, for new viewers. So this obviously takes place in the Revolutionary War. It's 1775, the very beginning of the war. The Americans have just taken up arms against the British. I always feel like Kurtzman obviously really liked Davis's comic work when it comes to war comics, because he always gave him the lead. And then purposefully, he always gives the historical ones to Wally Wood, which means he's got to draw all of this authentic, old-timey shit, ships, cannon, guns from that time. All Jack Davis has got to draw, I mean, he's got to get the guns right. But basically, it's a bunch of disheveled infantrymen, you know, kind of running around in the dirt. But then he gives Wood the hard one, but he makes him second. I mean, this is the bravura shit. This is like where you look at Wood's art and you'll be like, holy shit, man, how long did this panel take? With all these little figures and everything in it. I mean, this is a weak example. I mean, there's some Wally Wood pages back in the 50s that are just like, holy shit. Every millimeter is crammed with beautifully illustrated stuff. So we see the New England militia here. They've taken Bunker Hill. They're going to defend it against the British. They're barely an army now. There's no uniforms. These are just farmers and merchants who just picked up guns to fight the British. And then we see these two characters. This guy, Jeb, and his buddy. And the buddy's kind of like, oh man, I don't think we're going to win. The British totally outnumber us. They're better trained. But Jeb tells him, he says, but you know what? We got something that they don't have. Sure, they have a better army. But what do we have? We have a cause. We want to be free. And so now the redcoats have landed and they're marching up the hill. Just a totally well-trained army. And then this is something Kurtzman loves to do. Now we see the enemy's point of view. And this guy's talking to this guy, Frothingham. And Frothingham is just like Jeb's friend. He's just like all worrying. He's like, this is crazy. Going up this hill with 100-pound packs on our backs. It would have been wiser to flank them. It's going to be a slaughter. And he's just like, hushed him. It's the rebels who are mad. They're just basically a bunch of bandits and thieves. And now they're threatening Boston. So he feels like he's doing right. That's what most soldiers feel like their side is right. So Kurtzman always likes to show that they're not just these evil, mustache-twirling villains. So now the rebels open fire. And unfortunately, though, they're running out of bullets. since they're not an army, they're not very well supplied. So the commander here is telling them just to hold their fire until the British are really close. They can't afford to waste a bullet, which they do, and it's very successful. They actually mow down a lot of English. The English fall back, and then they attack again. God, look at this, just amazing art. Bollywood is so good. And then the rebels are throwing rocks at them. So the British commanders are like, see, Englishmen? They're out of bullets. They're throwing rocks. We're going to kick ass today. Charge. And so it turns into just a full-on brawl. I don't know why the English just didn't shoot them from afar, since they know they don't have bullets. But they do get into this fray. And look at this panel here. Bollywood going crazy. I think Maria Severin gave up here. She was like, I'm not coloring all that shit. That would take me another hour. So even though this looks very crowded, it would be more crowded if she colored this, because every little figure is delineated in the background. So the rebels finally have to retreat. I don't understand this at all, but I don't know why this guy looks like he's running away in a little Speedo. He's buck naked except for his boots, and you can see a waistband. I don't understand this. I don't know if Bollywood was, I don't know, gender fluid or not gender fluid, sexually fluid, and every now and then he got turned on by drawing hot men, because he usually liked to draw hot women. But this is just such a mystery, this little guy. And the British rout them. But by the early evening, the British have taken the hill, but they don't pursue. They've been so beaten. Because even though they've won, they lost 2 men for every one of the militia. And then, as Harvey Kurtzman will always do, he'll show you the results of this thrilling combat. Just hundreds, thousands of dead bodies. Lives wasted. And of course, we zoom in on that guy Framisham, or whatever the hell his name was, the one who was talking. And his head is bashed in by a rock. We got the letter page. We got a little short story called The Ditch. And we got the fine arts page. So here it is, guys. Probably one of the most celebrated comic stories in comics history. A lot of people put this on their top 10 list of all-time great comics. This is Corpse on the Imjun by Harvey Kurtzman, written and drawn. We're in Korea. It's a dark day in May. Lightning flickers in the South Korean hills, and a storm wind roars over the Imjun River. Out in the middle of the rain-swollen Imjun, a lonely corpse floats with the rubble down to the sea. For this is what our story is about, a corpse on the Imjun. This is just, look at this. The first page is just a corpse going down a river. No action. Like, Harvey Kurtzman was really just, William Gaines gave him his nut. He just did whatever he wanted to do. Now we see an American serviceman on the riverbank watching this corpse go down the river. He's wondering how he could have been killed. And then after imagining all these, planes killing him with their bombs and all cannon fire, he says, could have been hand-to-hand combat. Although I doubt it. I've yet to hear anyone who's gotten close enough to the enemy to use a bayonet. I guess that was just for the olden days when people fought with swords and knives. Look how rough-hewn this Kurtzman cartooning is. But it's amazing. Look at his face here. This is almost like modern art, some modern artist or something but it totally works. It's so weird and so effective. Oh man, it's just like quick ink strokes. This stuff is great. So as he's thinking this, of course, there's always got to be an ironic twist in an EC comic. As he's thinking that hand-to-hand combat's a thing of the past, he's eating his C rations. There's a North Korean soldier hiding in the bush, like 10 feet away from him. And he's starving and tired and wet and scared. And so he lunges for the soldier's rifle. I forgot to mention too, I might have mentioned this in other videos, but I love that it's kind of a thing of the past now. The second person narration, where the narrator in the captions is like, you see him out of the corner of your eye, you know, talking to the character, even though obviously they can't hear him. So the soldier kicks his rifle out of the way. It's all he can do in the split second he has. And he kicks it into the water because he doesn't want the North Korean guy to get his rifle. And he can't get it in time. The North Korean picks up a big piece of wood that just happens to be lying there, a broken stick. And right then, the American remembers his bayonet. So they're about to engage in hand-to-hand combat. How ironic. But just look how just like rubbery and expressive Christmas figures are. It's so cartoony, and yet this is a deadly serious story. It shouldn't work. It should be incongruous, you know? And so the fight begins, and the North Korean's getting the best of this American. He cracks his fingers. The American drops the bayonet, and he's just wailing on him with the stick. And finally, the American just gets so enraged that he just charges him like a crazy bull. And he pushes him, because he's heavier than the North Korean, he pushes him into the river. And then he holds his head under the water. And of course, it's not easier said than done, because the guy's kicking and clawing and trying to gouge his eyes out and grab his mouth and everything. But finally, the bubbles stop from under the water. The North Korean stops clawing at the air. His feet have stopped thrashing. I love these 4 panels here. Well, even these 3 continue, almost like the come down from this excitement here, this violence. And then it's like 3 panels of just like, yeah, it's done. Suddenly your mind is quiet and your rage collapses. The water is very cold. He says that the guy's gasping and shaking weak, and he's ashamed. Something about like killing someone with your own hands, it's more personal. This guy's probably shot a bunch of North Korean soldiers and didn't think a thing about it. But actually, like, real, killing someone like that. It's just so well written, too. The wind is rushing fitfully over the Imjun. It stirs the hair on the back of the dead man's head. We see the North Korean floating away, just to become another corpse in the Imjun. The water ripples before the wind, laps at the shore, sways the body from side to side. The flowing river gently swings the body out, away from the bank and into the current. Have pity for a dead man, for he is now not rich or poor, right or wrong, bad or good. Don't hate him. Have pity, for he has lost the most precious possession we possess, life. Lightning flashes in the Korean hills, and on the rain-swollen Imjun, a corpse flows out to sea. So it all comes back to the beginning. Oh man, this is a whole page on just a corpse. A close-up of a corpse floating in a river. It's just, I think Harvey Kurtzman, this is the story that is most celebrated, but almost so many of his comics have this, where it's just like, yeah, it's not like he's like, oh, we shouldn't have war. Sometimes it seems like he realizes we have to go to war, like to stop Hitler or something. But he's also just like, yeah, but it sucks. And a lot of war comics didn't do that. It never said that. they were just like, hooray for us. And none of the guys would ever get killed, the good guys, you know. So it just seemed like a grand outing going to war, like a fun time. So now we have, just like the past 3 issues in a row, I think now, Severin and Elder close out the issue with Buzz Bomb. Here, let's look at this amazing, weird effect. I don't know what's going on here, but the smoke here, or is this just a sunset and those are clouds? Probably a mixture of both since we're in a war. And, but yeah, I don't know what it is. It's very interesting looking. And combined with these colors, this smudgy inking, there's something incredible about this, especially considering, you know, it was printed in a newsprint comic. So it's World War II, it's 1944. I never heard of this. So apparently the Germans developed this thing called the Buzz Bomb. It was basically a drone. It was a little plane, missile, but kind of a plane that would just fly out. I guess it had some kind of primitive robot brain that it would kind of go in one direction. And then it would eventually run out of gas, and wherever it ran out of gas, it would land, you know, crash and blow up. Kind of seemed like a very random, weird weapon. Like, hey, that might kill your own men. So I don't understand quite exactly how the Buzz Bomb worked. But we see it streaking through the skies in December 1944. He describes it as a jet-propelled bomb. A pilotless bomb moving like a dumb monster. God, there's some really nice colors. I wonder if now Maurice Severin's on board at EC. It really does seem like the colors of the past issue or two have been a lot more vibrant and interesting. So we see this American platoon. They're listening to the Buzz Bomb, and luckily it blows up far away from them. Now, as soon as one blows up, it seems like they start hearing the engines for the next one. It just never stops. One blows up, and then they start hearing getting louder and louder, and they've got to once again worry about, is it headed our way? Is it going to get us? The 4 panels of just random things. And so now we cut away to some German soldiers, and one of them's kind of freaked out by the buzz bombs. They've just attacked some Americans, and their Jeep has gone off the road here. And his name's Heinrich. And Heinrich is just like, every time he hears those engines, he tenses up and freaks out. His buddies are kind of making fun of him about it. They're even saying like, they're admiring the buzz bomb. Like, what a clever weapon our high command has come up with. And another buzz bomb you can hear in the distance. And then it sputs to a stop, and he says, the bomb has stopped flying. Somehow they don't even know where it is. I guess you can't see them in the sky. And so it goes off 4 miles away. So his friends are like, Jesus Christ, Heinrich, you gave us a heart attack. The thing didn't even blow up near us. You got to calm down. And then, of course, another buzz bomb starts flying. They hear the engines. And Heinrich is just like, there's another one. Listen, it is like an animal, a dumb brute. What kind of invention is that? Flying up there with machinery for a brain. It is an invention of the devil. He's like, listen, it's right on top of us. And of course his friends are like, Heinrich, calm the fuck down. How the hell did you ever get in here, into this troop? And then Heinrich runs for it. He's just like, it stopped. Run for your lives. And the sound effects really, tell the tale. Right as it sputs. He's hearing that. I like that when sound effects actually correspond to the timing in a series of panels. Ken Brzezinek in American Flag did that a lot. So once again, 4 silent panels, as even Heinrich's friends now realize, oh shit, I think we're right under the bomb's path. And they are. The bomb blows them to bits. Heinrich's alive because he ran. And he goes back to his friends and says, Eric, Wolf, my friends, where are you? And then without, like clockwork, another fucking buzz bomb goes out. He starts hearing the engines. And of course he keeps freaking, he freaks out. And he hears it sputter to a stop. It's stopping. God, he really milks this tension. And then it blows up not very far from him, but doesn't kill him. And then immediately, another one. So it's like this guy's going fucking nuts. It's like, where is it? Where is it coming from? Stay away, devil machine. And then we cut away and we see these American soldiers. And he says, hey, Lieutenant, look what I found in the brush. Looks like a real Section 8 psycho over here. And it's Heinrich. And Heinrich has lost his fucking mind. He's just muttering and drooling and speaking in German. I think he's saying, the devil machine, the devil machine. The lieutenant says, yeah, nutty is a fruitcake. We'll all be that nutty if those buzz bombs keep coming over here. And of course, as they carry him off to the Hooskow, another buzz bomb takes off and begins its kamikaze mission. Intense. So there you go, guys. Two-Fisted Tales number 8. I hope you enjoyed looking at this. About 10 years ago, I actually had the pleasure, me and my friend, he drove me down to Eugene, Oregon, and the college there, the museum, had an exhibit of EC original art. I couldn't believe I was like, I could reach out and touch like just all these classic amazing comics, that amazing Frazetta cover from Weird Science Fantasy, just things that I'd seen since I was a little boy, these classic comics. And they had the entire corpse of the Imjun there, all the original art, all in a row, so you could read the whole thing on the wall. It was an amazing exhibition. I wish I could have taken all of you there. It was, I'm not really that into original art, like as far as like, I want to own it. But just seeing the stuff that's so historical, it was amazing. It was quite an exhibition. So just a little aside there. But thanks for watching today, guys. And I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.